A very important note before I begin: to waive my responsibility. If you don't listen to this, do not go to Dudleytown in Connecticut. This is not a joke or a prank I'm playing. I know that after this video, some people will want to go to that place. Do not do that for two reasons. The first reason is that it is private property and trespassing is not allowed. But the more important and dangerous reason is that the place is terrifying, frightening, and cursed. All the people who live there ended either by death, disappearance, or madness. Those who remained sane fled the place and never returned. The place is not safe and is very dangerous. But before we start our story, I remind you not to forget, if you like this video, please don't hesitate to like and share it. Let's begin. Our story takes place one summer day in 1906. Dr. William C. Clark and his wife Harriet were driving slowly in a very beautiful area in the northwest of Connecticut called Litchfield County. They were touring the area to explore it, to find a suitable place to build their second new home. The couple had always lived in New York City. Dr. Clark was an oncologist and cancer specialist and a professor at Columbia University College of Physicians and Surgeons. Due to the workload, crowd, and noise in New York City, he needed to settle in another quiet place in Litchfield County, which is a quiet, beautiful area far from the noise of New York. The couple continued driving slowly on winding roads through rural areas and forests until they reached a very beautiful wooden covered bridge. After crossing the bridge, they looked to their right and found a mountain with a very beautiful forest on it, and there was a side road leading to that forest on the mountain. The couple had no idea what was in that place, but they saw it as a very beautiful place, worth visiting and exploring, so they decided to go there to see if it was suitable to build their second home. They began driving up the mountain, and the higher they climbed, the steeper the slopes and rougher the roads became. It was obvious from the condition of the road through the forest that not many cars travelled it. They parked their car on the roadside, got out, and started climbing the mountain on foot through the forest. As soon as they entered the forest, the sunlight began to fade around them because the dense tree branches cast a heavy shade on the area. After a few minutes inside the forest, the place seemed very quiet with no sounds. But suddenly, the forest came to life. They heard bird chirping, sounds of running animals, and the buzzing of insects. They reached a large field beside the road, filled with wild apple trees. When they got closer, they saw deer standing on their legs to eat apples from the trees. The couple saw that the place was very beautiful. The nature, the flowers, the apple trees, and the deer. Suddenly, they discovered a flowing river coming down from springs on the mountain. When the sunlight filtered through the leaves, the forest began to sparkle before their eyes because the ground they stood on was rocky and mountainous, filled with mica mineral. Mica is a type of mineral that shines like pearls when sunlight hits it. The deeper they went into the forest, the more the owls' sounds increased. The owls seemed to be greeting their arrival. After finishing their 5th tour in that place, they returned to their car parked on the road and decided this was the right place to build their new home. The couple returned to New York City and began preparing their money to buy 1,000 acres in the forest, which was called the Dark Entry. The name was because the forest appears dark most of the time, even during the day, due to the high mountains surrounding it, which block much of the sunlight. Additionally, the dense and tall trees themselves block more sunlight. The forest called the Dark Entry was once inhabited by humans who built a town there. What remained of this old town was just a pile of stones, parts of collapsed house walls, scattered in various places throughout the forest. The couple who wanted to build their house there saw the ruins of the old town, but did not care to know what happened to the former inhabitants or where they went. This was not a concern for them. On the contrary, they thought the ruins made the surrounding scenery more beautiful. After Dr. Clark finished buying the land, he started looking for builders in Connecticut. But despite the large sums he offered, everyone refused to build a new house for him, and no one told him the reason for their refusal. Dr. Clark assumed that the refusal might be because the job was not profitable for them, or because the project was difficult due to the difficulty of entering and leaving the isolated forest. But Dr. Clark didn't give up and decided to build the house himself, since he grew up on a farm in New Jersey and had experience building houses from trees. During the following months, Dr. Clark shuttled between New York and the dark forest and built parts of the house gradually. He chose the building site on flat land, cut the surrounding trees, and began building the house with tree trunks. Then he brought pipes and connected them to a fresh water well to bring fresh water to the new house. The house was built on a high hill, and just below the hill was a small stream. Dr. Clark liked to stand and watch the salmon fish jumping against the water current. He decided to build a small dam on the stream to collect a small pond to use as a swimming pool. The new house was like a piece of paradise, and the couple enjoyed it during their vacations. They kept enjoying their new home until the summer of 1918, when Dr. Clark received an emergency medical call in New York. His wife was very upset that he would leave her alone in the house in the forest, not knowing how long he would be gone. The matter could take several days. Dr. Clark arrived at the nearest train station to their home, and his wife asked him to promise to return as soon as possible when he finished, and he promised her that. Dr. Clark took the train to New York, watching from the window as his wife clasped her hands on the train bars while the train moved away from her. But Dr. Clark did not know that his wife would live her worst nightmare when he left her alone in the new house. When Dr. Clark bought the 1,000 acres in the dark forest, he did not do any research or ask the nearby residents whether the place was safe to live in or not. The old ruins in the forest were part of the old town, and the local people believed the town was cursed. That is why none of the builders wanted to build Dr. Clark's house in that place. Even when Dr. Clark invited them to see the site in nature, they refused to enter the forest because they were very afraid to approach the ruins or the curse of the town. The town began to appear around 1740. At that time, only 2 families lived there with their 2 houses. Then 30 other families moved there, and it became a small town where the residents lived beautiful lives. But at the end of the 18th century, terrible events started happening to the town's residents. The Carter family moved to the town in 1759, and shortly after their arrival, 6 members of that family died from cholera. The remaining members of the Carter family were very saddened and left the town, fleeing to New York. But as soon as their feet touched New York, the Native Americans, Red Indians, the original inhabitants of America, attacked them, slaughtered most of them, and stole their property. The 3 surviving children were kidnapped. In 1792, in the Old Town, a man named Holster died suddenly. No one knew whether he died naturally, fell from a roof, or was murdered. The home of a man named Tanner was the scene of a madness case, as he talked about strange creatures he saw in the forest at night. Tanner's daughter cared for her insane father until his death. His neighbor Abel said he saw strange creatures moving among the trees throughout the town. But then Abel gradually went mad and also needed care due to his disturbed mind until he died. In the early 19th century, a general named Herman Swift lived in the small town and went mad after lightning struck his wife. In 1813, a mysterious epidemic spread in the town, killing many residents. Stories began to spread among the people about seeing strange creatures moving around the trees at night. By about 1900, all the town's residents had either died or emigrated, leaving only one family called the Provey family. The family's sheep began to die one by one. The mother died of tuberculosis, and the 2 sons disappeared while visiting a neighbouring village. The family house was burned to the ground, and only the father, John Provey, remained, but he too disappeared later. The old town officially became a ghost town called Dudley Town. In 1906, Dr. Clark and his wife Harriet discovered the forest and decided to build their new home there. In the summer of 1918, when Dr. Clark left his wife alone to go to a medical emergency in New York for about 36 hours, something strange happened to her. When Dr. Clark returned to the station, he did not find his wife waiting for him, and he knew she was afraid and worried about staying alone in the new house. He began feeling very anxious and entered the dark forest. He heard the owls' loud cries, but this time they were not welcoming. They were filled with fear and danger. He kept walking until he reached his new house, where the owls were screeching unusually above his head. He found the front door slightly open and hurried inside the house. He heard a very disturbing buzzing sound that he could not bear, so he covered his ears. He heard mad laughter coming from the upper floor. He rushed up the stairs, and the louder the laughter became as he climbed until he reached the bedroom. He cautiously opened the door and found his wife sitting on the floor on her knees, her hand tightly covering her mouth. Her eyes were wide open unnaturally, and her smile was very wide, unlike a normal human smile. Dr. Clark was shocked and terrified, knowing that the mad laughter was not coming from his wife willingly, but that another force was controlling her and forcing her to laugh that way. He could not look into her eyes any longer, so he left her and ran out of the house, scared and terrified. During his 36-hour absence, something strange happened to his wife, but no one knows what it was. It is said that she talked about people with strange shapes appearing to her in the forest. There are 2 versions. One says she spent the rest of her life in a mental hospital, and the other says she returned with her husband to New York and died there. Until today, Dudley Town remains abandoned and entry is prohibited because it is private property. But there are adventurers who visit the ruins and feel very cold and strong air currents. Some say they felt invisible hands hitting and pushing them while walking. Some took photos with their cameras showing strange ghosts that no one saw with their naked eyes. The famous couple, Ed and Lorraine, specialists in ghost hunting and paranormal phenomena, filmed a series in the 1970s inside this forest and said that the area around Old Dudley Town is literally demonically haunted. And with that, our story ends. I hope this video and story pleased you. Don't forget to like and share this video from all your accounts on social media. From here until I prepare new stories for you, I wish you all the best and say goodbye